there's no doubt that these cars are expensive, but look no further than Derek Ward, who won the World Series of Pro Mod on Sunday night with a car that was built in like 2005. Like that. I mean, I actually
Is that
was
car that old? I did
yeah,
not know
dude, that was uh Mike Stawicki's G-Force car that actually went over to Qatar. I remember, like, I was in Qatar whenever that car got shipped over. The one that was red and black, like double-sided. You know, it had black on one side and red on the other.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, that car,
There's
that
not so many of
68
those
Firebird. No, dude,
Firebirds. They're mostly
that
obviously Camaros, but
it's like literally probably was one of the oldest cars on the property. And the fact that Derek Ward can come in and win the biggest pro mod race in the world with not having the latest greatest, I mean, he's obviously got good equipment. None of these guys don't have first class equipment, but I mean, that to me that's an inspiring tale. Like, that's an inspiring thing. And I'm never going to say that racing pro mod is cheap. It is not. It is far from cheap. But comparatively speaking, like, if you look at the other pro categories that exist in drag racing, absolutely it is a reasonable endeavor. Like, if you have a small to medium sized business that's relatively successful, this is probably something you can do. If you can't own all the stuff, you could certainly rent a ride or secure an opportunity driving one of these cars for somebody else if you're willing to contribute to the operation. I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, how many of those cars are collaborative efforts where this guy owns the car, this guy owns the drive line. I mean, this guy owns the truck and trailer. I mean, there was multiple situations this weekend where people were using other people's rigs, leaning on one another, hauling their cars down together. I mean, there's all these things. And
it's because they're closer to the fire. We talked about that. That was something we compared to the pro race, is that, like, to your point about the business owners, those same guys are the ones that own and drive the cars, and they're the ones we interface with and that we shake hands with and talk to, and the ones that pay their entry fee and the whole deal. And there's more of those degrees of separation when you get into the next levels, and getting back to that and like being able to hear the feedback directly from these guys that are own these cars, driving the rigs, driving the cars, paying the fees, paying for this thing to run. It was refreshing, because that's the people, those are our customers. Those are who we need to hear from, and good, bad, or indifferent, they're the ones that give us the best feedback. And so to hear from them, their excitement and how much they enjoyed the race, and to see all those smiles on their faces and the winner circle celebrations, and just how pumped these guys are to be in that position, even if they're not winning pro mod, if they're winning, top sportsman, top dragster, all the other classes we had. It's awesome to see those. And again, it's like, get your whole crew up here. Well, it's me and this dude.
Yeah,
like,
I know, right?
You know what I mean? Or here, my wife and this other guy. I mean, they're not huge crews, and they've all poured into it, and it was so refreshing to see that.